Okay, so this isn't going to be one of my normal videos that I've done on this channel. This is going to be more of just a vent, I guess, just me venting, maybe telling stories about someone or something, I don't know, someone that was just a big part of my childhood and growing up, and I felt like this would probably be the best way to do him justice. This isn't for views or anything like that. This is more as a thank you and as shedding some light on just a beautiful soul, definitely a beautiful character that meant so much to so many of us. And I'm sure that you all have a story or stories to tell about what he meant or what it meant to have someone like that a part of your life in any kind of way. I'm talking about the passing of Jason David Frank, Tommy Oliver. For those of you guys who watched the series, he was the Green Power Ranger on the original Power Rangers, and then went on to be the White Ranger, and then the Red Ranger, and the leader of the Red Rangers, so on and so forth. But I didn't grow up in the best of situations. I didn't grow up in the best of areas, and so there's things that were in my life that were still protecting me as a child from the outside world and the outside influences and things of that nature. So there's just a lot of peer pressure. There's a lot of things that go on. There's a lot that can happen. There's certain paths you can go and take, and they're not always the right ones. And in my situation, I could have taken so many paths that would have led to the wrong roads. And it was something like Tommy Oliver, the character of Tommy Oliver, that allowed me to continue to keep that innocence or shield me from the outside world and still be a child. And it wasn't just me, it was a couple of my friends. And I think that this has been so like a sad moment in my life, because I had a friend of mine who I was really close with growing up. And just like anything, you drift apart as you get older. And down the road as we grew up, there was attempts to reach out and rekindle that friendship, and for one reason or another, it just never happened. And so that just happened, that happening less than a year ago. And then this happening, and the reason why I'm speaking on my late friend is because he was one of the individuals that we would pretend and we would play these characters of Jason the Red Ranger and Tommy the Green Ranger, and so it was fun. Hobbs, you've seen Hobbs before. Hobbs is one of those guys that he again was a part of that, and we were just the three of us, you know what I mean? And so much bad going on around us in bad situations. And this one show, these one flashy ninjas, as cheesy, as corny as it is, as an adult, you look back and the influences and the moments that they had in your lives. And, the three of us just pretending to be these characters and play these characters and imagine ourselves as these ninjas saving the world, and I'm not saying that my story is unique. I'm not saying that it holds any relevance to your life or anything like that. Again, this is more just me. I feel like to pay respects to someone who did so much for me as a child or shielded me so much as a child, when you don't realize those things until you get older. And I didn't follow Jason David Frank as closely as a lot of you probably did, but I did watch him when he transitioned to MMA in like 2010. I watched a couple of his fights. I watched him at the Comic-Cons and things like that, the Ranger Con, I'm not sure exactly what they're called, but I knew that there was beef between him and Jason, the character that played the Red Ranger, and he saw himself as a true martial artist, and he held himself to a standard. And no matter what was going on in his life, he always tried to relay a positive message to everyone out there. And for those of you guys that did follow him and saw that, you guys saw nothing but positive energy, and all he wanted to do was bring happiness and joy to his followers, his viewers. I'm not crying, sorry, I just got some of my eye. But that's all you ever want to do. And you, as far as what I've seen, the things that I did follow, I didn't see him ever showing that he was struggling. He would be open and vulnerable and things like that, but I never saw anything that showed that he was struggling, especially the way that he, towards the end there. And it's just, I've seen videos that say there's signs that pointed to what was happening. I didn't see anything, man. I mean, big tattoo right here that says God never tapped. And he's had that for a long time, and so it seems as though he held religion to a high standard, and it just seemed like an all-around awesome guy, you know what I mean? Like, he was always that guy. He was always Tommy, he always came back to the franchise and could always relate, even in the difference and changes and times, the New Rangers and all those things, and touching new audiences. And I'm glad that all these people got to experience him as a character, and maybe even followed him and got to meet the man behind the suit. And he just, again, man, he just seemed very genuine. He seemed really happy, religious, and it just seemed like all he cared, not all he cared about, but a big part of his life was you guys and me and us. And he sacrificed, it seems like, a lot in order to bring us happiness with his daily vlogs and things like that. And, it just, he always wanted to bring positivity. He was always bringing positivity. And, again, I'm not going to sit here and pretend I followed him every day or anything like that. These are just, someone passes and you start to remember, you want to remember their life, and you want to, I looked at videos and I started seeing, I was like, man, this guy is just seems like a nice guy, wants to bring everyone happiness. And again, for me, I was in a bad situation, a bad neighborhood, and he, I feel, did shield me, at least even if it was momentarily, in those moments, from the outside world and the outside influences. And it was fun to be able to be a kid. And when I think about my childhood and I think about being a kid, I cannot think about my childhood or being a kid without thinking of the Power Rangers. And that extends to the first movie with Ooze, and watching that in theaters with Hobbs, and you know what I mean? And so, like, there's just, it meant a lot. It meant a lot, and it was a good show at a perfect time. And it was my imagination. I was the Green Ranger, and I can do that by myself for hours outside. And I would jump in the Megazord, or play the flute to call on my Dragon Zord. And I'm sure, like most of you out there, but I just wanted to honor his life for all that he did. I wanted to thank you to the family. I'll keep you in my prayers, and I hope that you guys find some way or some comfort in order to move forward. I can't imagine what you're going through. I know he had 4 children, and so he survived by his 4 children. I don't know what kind of relationship he had with you, if you're watching, but I just hope that you find peace and comfort at some point. Thank you to your father for the millions of people that he touched and the influence that he had. I'm sure that just goes to the hundreds of millions. And I just want to thank you, Jason David Frank. I hope you rest in peace, and thank you again.